Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Rockville, Maryland, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast, with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and happy Nishringa Chaturdasi. Chaturdasi means 14. It's the 14th day of the waxing moon, right? There's 15 days in a moon cycle. It goes from the new moon, the Amavasya, to the full moon.
I think it would be the 14th in either way, right? Waxing or waning.
Yeah, so there's 14, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, no.
No?
First it starts from the full moon and it goes down. So
Right.
there's a 14th day from that. And
Right.
then there's a 14th day before it waxes. So that's one full cycle from the full moon to the new moon. That's called a fortnight. Just like Shakespeare.
Fortnight.
We don't even know what fortnight is anymore, but right? I'll meet you in a fortnight, Mara. So that's a fortnight. And when you take two fortnights together, you have a lunar month. So we are
learning already, Raghunath. I mean, we're just getting started here, and I'm learning.
You're learning. There's a lot of education here in this little brain of mine. This little vegan cheese brain of mine. It's like a vegan Swiss cheese filled with holes. But we're excited here, and on this day, this is the holy appearance day of Lord Narasimha, the man lion. Generally, when we see these pictures of Lord Vishnu and these avatars of Vishnu and Krishna, they're very charming, very beautiful, very attractive. But this one is incredibly ferocious. This is the ferocious avatar, and his ferocity manifests when the devotees are being hurt, because there's so much affection, right? We always see like the Lord is so affectionate. It's not a fear-based theology. It's a love-based theology that God is all loving and all kind. But at the same time, just like a mother bear, right?
Mama bear?
If a mom's child is threatened, the mom, even though she might be very pleasant and sweet, she manifests a mother bear. So Lord Nrsimhadev is that mother bear for all the devotees. And so when Prahlad, this young boy saint, was getting harassed and eventually attempted to be killed by his psycho father, we're going to tell this story very soon, by his crazy father.
Psycho, yeah.
He's psycho, homicidal, maniac, right? Then Lord Nrsimhadev manifests some ferocity. And that's what we're going to hear about today. And we also hear about that everything's got a backstory, which is another important theme, not just for this class, but for the theme in life to understand material existence. Every one of us has a backstory. And even Hiranyakashipu has a backstory. Kaustubha?
He does. He's a devotee,
not
actually,
ordinary.
underneath it all.
Now, senior educator at the Bhakti Center, Kaustubha, was previously doing a class this morning at the Bhakti Center. Is that correct?
I just came right from there, just came right over.
There's a running.
I wasn't there physically. I mean, I was doing it here,
Oh, really?
virtually, but yeah.
Does everything happen virtually now?
No, it started
Someone
to
got
open up
initiated
the Bhakti
virtually
centers.
yesterday. Someone told me.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a virtual marriage. You may kiss the screen.
What about an arranged virtual marriage, Raghunath? That's even more exciting, right? Yeah, I just spoke with the Bhakti Center. It was nice. Spent some nice time reading a little Bhagavatam, some nice verses.
Nice, nice,
Want to hear a
nice.
nice verse from that? Maybe we should
Please.
save it for later after you've told the story.
Sure. A verse about Lord Nrsingadev?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Mara, anything interesting? Any announcements?
There's a back to recovery group meeting today. There's two actually, one for men and one for women. I think the
That's
men's
the
is at
Man
11
Woman Day.
a.m. Yeah, and the women's is at 3 p.m. 2 p.m. Thanks.
We had a nice night we had dinner with Gauravani last night.
Oh, at his home?
At his home. It was great.
Did you hang out in the
Kids.
backyard a little bit?
Nah, we got there late. We drove straight from Florida to DC.
Right.
So we're a little inspired. I really want to thank all the people. So many people are offering us prasad and food along the way. It was very, very, very sweet. And we apologize that we can't stop and eat. First of all, I just can't eat that much. And second of all,
You were fasting. I thought you were fasting.
well, I was fasting until Gauravani offered me dinner. How about that?
I would break my fast for that.
Me and Justin looked at each other. We were like, let's just eat. We fasted till 7:30 or 8 at night.
That's nice.
All right, I'm going to
So
start this off.
Nityananda Chandra Granger, and then Bali and Danya's place.
Oh, and then Bali's father, Prema.
Oh, what did he serve out?
Oh my God, it was like one.
Was it a
beautiful-
Colombian thing or was it?
No, I don't know what it was. Yeah. What did they serve us, Justin? It was just some wonderful feast.
Okay.
It's just like we're being fed nonstop. It's like
You just trust the devotees. Whatever they put in front of you, you accept it.
Krishna just takes care of you. It just happens. Krishna takes care of you. Anyone on this path will understand. Like whatever's going on in the material world, Krishna will take care of you.
It said that even if you're running blindfolded, right? When you're practicing bhakti, it's just like you're fine, you know.
I mean, I'm looking at Bhakti Justin right now. This guy's given everything to Krishna. He's ready to surrender his life to Krishna. And look what he gets. He just traveling around the world. He's like bathing in like sacred rivers, floating down sacred springs on tubes, eating well, meeting all his kirtan heroes. He's
Running a little bit
Krishna's
blindfolded,
fully
you
taking
guys.
care of this guy.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Just
Okay,
happens.
let's kick this off right. Check this prayer out. Ugram Vira Mahavishnum Jvalantam Sarvatomukam Nashingham Vishanam Badram Mrityur Mityam Nahamyaham. I bow down to Lord Nrsinga, who is ferocious and heroic, like Lord Vishnu. He is burning from every side. He is terrific, auspicious, and the death of death personified. Mm-hmm.
Ugram Viram Mahavishnu. Love it.
Love that? Okay.
Yeah.
So-
It's nice when you hear them, the Gurukula and Mayapur chant that, right?
oh, yeah.
And they get in that mood, right? That Vedic mantra mood.
Yeah, there's a whole Nrsingadev cult within a. We're like it's like a cult within a cult. Okay, let's start this off with our prayers, our Bhagavatam prayers, because this is of course stories from the Bhagavat Purana.
Okay.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master has opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances to his lotus feet. I want to thank Haridas, Henry Sholkoff, for putting us up here at this nice hotel. We've been sleeping in cars, and I feel well rested And now he's going to take the kids on a tour of Washington, D.C. today.
Oh, okay.
We're going to see the famous Nishringadev monument. And yeah, we've changed all the names. That looks like a man sitting in a chair. Nope, that's Nishringadev in his man form. And that big obelisk, that is the Lord Ram Memorial. Just give it different
That
names.
Washington monument is the nail of Lord Nrsingadev, right? One of his
Yeah,
nails.
the fingernails. Okay. So you want? I'm just going to tell the story. I'm not going to read
Tell
it.
it.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing we
But
want
the
to know
question will
about.
be, how much will you embellish?
Well, I embellish whatever it takes to get the point across.
Okay. Whatever it takes to win the audience over. Go for it.
Yes. So now the first thing we should understand is that not all yogis are good. That's important to understand. And if you're in the yoga, if you practice yoga, you know that sometimes even people who are very great at yoga can have the wrong intention. No one on this show, of course, everybody on the show listening, a lot of great yoga teachers, a lot of great yogis, but their intention is more refined.
Okay. So that's the first point. Not all yogis are good.
Not all yogis are good. That's one of the takeaways, Mara.
Takeaway,
Jot that
Mara.
down, please.
Jot that.
Not all
Note
yogis
that.
are good. And a lot of the perfection of some types of yoga practice were siddhis, or mystical perfection. That's Siddhis, siddhis, or mystical perfections. And they would perform a particular yoga practice, austerities, also known as tapas, to a particular deity to give them some type of benediction, some power, some strength. One such yogi name was Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu was incredible. If you think you're good at yoga, this guy was really good. Whatever you can do in the yoga practice, he's better. With the best yogi you've ever seen, this guy's done more. He was so incredibly renounced that Brahma himself appeared to him. Now, before we get into this, we should give a little bit of a backstory about him and who he was. And it's good to understand people's backstory. Everybody here has a backstory. We are the way we are today due to some backstory. Some people came to spiritual life because of some pain that happened last year, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. Some people came to spiritual life because they were just very, very spiritual in a previous life. Some people came to spiritual life because some great souls touched their heart. So whatever it is, we have a backstory. Sometimes you meet someone who's very, very angry. And why are they angry? They have some type of backstory generally. Maybe people were angry to them. And when you start to understand people's backstory, I find I become less reactive to maybe their impetuous nature, or if they're very cruel. I understand this poor, cruel person has been treated cruelly. You know, maybe in this life, maybe in their childhood. Hurt people, right?
Yes.
Dogs that bite have generally been, abused, uncared
The
for.
old abused dog metaphor.
The old abused dog metaphor. If dogs bite, maybe someone bit that dog. Right? So Hiranyakashipu's backstory was interesting. He was actually a devotee in the spiritual realm, and they were the guard keepers, the gatekeepers. Now, we don't really have gatekeepers in America, do we? We have bouncers, right? Their names were Jai and Vijay. There was two of them. Two
doormen.
gatekeepers.
We got doormen.
We have doormen. Yeah, they're doormen, like a New York City doorman.
Yeah.
And Brahma's Mara, who is Brahma's first created beings? Trivia question.
The four Kumars?
Boom.
Pretty good.
Yes.
I got
Mara.
Henry here. I'm gonna quiz Henry too.
Oh, good.
Well, I got Henry here. I'm gonna put this guy on the hot seat too.
Great.
Okay, so the four Kumaras and we've read how Brahma wanted them to propagate the universe, but they weren't interested. They had
create other beings, right?
Yeah, create other beings.
Progeny, create progeny.
Progeny, yes. But they were sort of like, you know what? We don't want to get entangled in material existence. So we don't even want to go through puberty. let's face it, once that kid, if any mother or father out there knows, once that kid goes through puberty, they're like a whole nother being. They're almost like possessed by some like, basically that's when, it's almost like that's when their last life kicks in. You know, they step into some other being. So anyway, this is exactly what happened. These four Kumars are like, we don't want to even grow up. And they had, through to some mystic power, they just stayed like prepubescent boys, children, like walking around like naked in the universe. And they had sort of a gold ticket where they could go in and out of the material and spiritual universe. They could walk right in to see Lord Vishnu, and they were just part of Vishnu's posse. And so they were strolling on into Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is the beautiful name for Lord Vishnu's abode, because Vaikuntha means the place. What does Vaikuntha mean, Henry? Do you know? No. Okay. He's honest. He just says, no, I don't. He actually knows, but he wants to, they say you should always be humble and, you know, not show off your intelligence. So
there's a good excuse, Mayor. Anytime we're on the hot seat and we don't know it,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you just put your hands like a namaste and say, I am a fool. I'm a fool. What do I know? You please instruct me.
That works, right? That's even better than knowing the answer.
It's better. Yeah, that means you really know the answer. Even if you don't. So Vaikuntha means the place of no anxiety. Mm-hmm. The material world is a place of anxiety. Why? Because we're eternal beings and everything is crumbling in this world. How could there not be anxiety? Matter of fact, if you have no anxiety, I think you need to check your head. That means you've got your head deep into the sand, because of course there's going to be anxiety. It's the material world. The only way not to have anxiety is to fully trust that Lord Vishnu has got your back. So in Vaikuntha, these four Kumaras, these four young sages, these first children of Brahma, they walked in to see Brahma. Now, I don't know if you remember, Kaustubha, what it was like, those bouncers at the nightclubs in New York City. They're just standing there and they have like a
attitude.
They have attitude, and they have got those clipboards, and you have to be on the list if you want to get in the club.
They got something in their ear too, right? Like they got something in their ear. Like
got something in their ear. They're calling security. They got a suit on. And they always let the ladies in. They don't let any of the guys in. Sexist, right? And so here come these four little children strolling in. And they were like, ho, 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 ho. What are you doing here? We're going to see Lord Vishnu. We were intimately connected with Lord Vishnu. Where's your mother? Where's your mom? Get out of here. Well, we're the first beings of the universe. We have no mom. Get out of here. Go get your mother. Then you come back here. He's like, no, you don't understand. We're actually old men. We're actually great sages. We are intimately connected with Lord Vishnu, and we'd like to see him now. We just go in and out like this. Look, no one's getting past us. And they put up such a stink to these liberated souls. For their benefit, the four Kumars, the four young children sages, cursed these two gatekeepers. Oof. And when they realized they were being cursed, of course, they begged for forgiveness.
You know, it's interesting, Raghunath, because in the commentary to this, Prabhupada says it's just like you see all the time, right? If you bar a kid, like a child, from going somewhere, they get upset.
They get upset.
Right? You can't do that. It's just like, that's all it takes, right?
Tell me about it. I'm dealing with my 7-year-old. Okay, enough of that. Put down that device.
But the four Kumars, they were simultaneously like very old and very wise. They're like super sages.
Yet they still had tantrums? Is that your point?
Well, I don't know if it was a tantrum, but there was something of the childlike mentality. It was both in them, right? But you know, actually, Raghunath, they had not met Lord Vishnu before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
there's where my embellishment goes
your
south.
First embellishment, yeah, because then when the curse came, then Lord Vishnu came. Remember? And he's like, what is going on? Remember? And he's like, why, these guys, my guards, have treated the four Kumars, these very pure, saintly beings, like this. And then he took personal responsibility for it, right? Lord Vishnu says, okay, if they've done this to you, then it's like I've done this to you. Right?
Then, Kaustubha, why don't you tell them about the curse options? There's different packages they could have opted in for.
So Lord Vishnu is kind of like, okay, well, they're going to pay for this because like I can't be misrepresented like this. This is an important lesson. It just occurs to me right now, right? Like a lot of people consider themselves representatives of God in some way, right? But if you misrepresent, it's actually really, that's like better to even just be neutral than to misrepresent, right? And so the curse, they were going to have to deal with the curse, and the curse was they were going to have to leave that heavenly realm and go into the material world. But they had
Get a timeshare on planet Earth.
Yeah, so they had a choice, and one of them was that I forget the exact time span, but they could enter into the material realm as like devotees for a very long time span.
Like 9 births or something.
I forget. Or it could be a very short span as
3 births.
demons, as the enemies.
They
of the
weighed
Lord.
it out. They put it on the scale of how long do you want to hang in the material world. 9 births as devotees, 3 births as demons.
I'll take
What do you think they chose?
They chose demons.
Henry? Demons.
Yeah.
They said, we don't want to spend any time on that horrible planet of yours. Isn't it amazing? It's all relative. We think we got it so good. We're staying at the Courtyard Marriott. Woo! Right? There's people staying at like such nice hotels. They're like, you're staying at the Courtyard? That's gross. There's people staying at Motel 6. They're like, oh, the Courtyard Marriott. Everything is relative in the material world. And when we're comparing it from using a spiritual metric of Vaikuntha, Earth seems like a ghetto. And no matter how opulent your life is on planet Earth, it's a ghetto. And the biggest part of the ghetto is disease comes. Old age comes. Death comes. That's what comes when you get onto this planet. And because we're born in this planet, we don't even realize there's anything other. There's other options. So anyway, they take these births, and the first one, they both take birth as. Oh, but the caveat here is they will get liberated by the Lord.
By the way, I don't know if you've mentioned that there were 2 and they were brothers, right? They were named Jai and Vijay. These were the guards, the doormen. Okay. And so they're both.
So these are the stories of the Bhagavatam. So the first birth is Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. That was their first births.
Right.
And Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Vishnu in the form of a boar.
We're almost
Lord
there
Vishnu
in the 3rd
form of a
canto.
boar. We're almost there.
All the stuff you're telling right now, we're almost there.
We're almost there. And this birth was Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu, man, we just read, what does Hiranyaksha means? Hiranyaksha
means gold.
Eyes of gold, right?
Yeah.
He sees everything, right? He sees everything.
Gold everywhere.
For how can I get money out of that? How can I get money out of him? I'm looking at Henry right now. Like, I wonder if he's got a credit card on him. I need some money. I need some money right now. People who have these eyes of gold, everything they see, like, where can I extract money? Now, Hiranyakashipu, Kaustubha, what does that mean?
That means gold and a soft bed.
Yeah, he likes gold and he also likes soft bed. So he's addicted to sense gratification, like a sexual addict, Hiranyakashipu. And he's thinking, that's all he's thinking, sex and women and sex and money.
Was he
money
a great, powerful yogi or is he a sex addict? I don't. He did the yoga first. He did the yoga first,
got the powers, then he just kicked it in.
Right.
And so with those powers, he did control his senses for a super long time and worship Brahma. And Brahma was so impressed by his tapas that Brahma said, I'm going to give you whatever you want. That's dangerous, right? To give people with bad intentions whatever they want. And if you practice yoga, even in this world, you develop peace, strength, fine body, happiness,
glow,
serenity.
A glow.
What else?
A glow.
A glow about you. Now, you can use all those things to manipulate people, can't you? You can use all those good qualities you get from yoga to be a jerk.
Which goes back to your original point. Not all yogis are good.
Not all yogis are good. That's going to be the recurring theme, Mara. That might be the tattoo. Mara's been looking for a back piece. She's been asking me, what should I get for a back piece?
Not all yogis are good. She'll be like, what?
She's got a picture of my face.
Oh, okay.
Not all yogis are good. So anyway, where is we?
So they got cursed. They came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, two powerful demons.
Okay.
Now Hiranyaksha got killed, and that that's a key feature in the whole story. You know why? Because I think we got to speed it up a little bit here, but Hiranyakashipu, his son was Prahlad, right?
Mm.
But Prahlad he became a pure devotee, and Raghunath will explain how.
Yes.
But the problem, the whole issue here was that Prahlad, he loved Lord Vishnu, but it was Lord Vishnu that killed Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha. That created quite a conflict in the family. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wanted revenge. So let me finish this about Hiranyakashipu. So he gave this Brahma said, I'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
And Hiranyakashipu thought, oh, whatever I want? I want to be immortal. Immortality. There's a whole group of people who want this. They do this. What is it called, Kaustubha? They get into this anti-aging herbs.
Longevity.
The longevity movement. We want to become centenarians. But who cares if you're a centenarian, but you're a demon? This is exactly what's going on with Hiranyakashipu. Brahma said, I'll give you anything you want, but I can't give you immortality. I'm not even immortal. Even Lord Brahma has a material body that he has to give up. So he says, okay, I can't be immortal. Then I want this. He thought he would get all his bases covered. He said,
Trick it. It was tricky.
He's trying to trick Lord Vishnu. He's trying to trick Lord Brahma. He says, okay, I want the benediction that I can't be killed in the daytime or the nighttime. And Lord Brahma said, I can do that.
All right.
And he said, I like the benediction that I not be killed in the sky or on the earth. And Lord Lord Brahma said, I can do that. And I want to not be killed by any man or beast. Brahma said, no problem. No problem. He gave him a head bobble with his four heads. All four heads bobbled at once. And then he said, I want to not be killed by any weapon. No problem. No problem. No weapon. And I don't want to be killed inside or outside. No problem. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? I think that was it.
I think you got them all.
I think I got them all. And he said, I grant you that benediction. And Brahmaji gave that benediction. And at that time, then he started to really develop his cruelty towards the entire universe. Now, in the meantime, his queen, he was a king. He was the king at the time. And in the meantime, his wife had heard from a sage. Now, we understand, I think a lot of people understand that whatever the woman eats during the when she's pregnant, that's going to affect the baby. But it's not just what she eats, it's what she hears as well. That affects the baby. The sounds that the child hears affects the subtle body, the mind, the intelligence, the ego.
Keep that in mind, everyone.
Keep that in mind next time pregnant ladies bring their kids to hardcore shows. It happens all the time. Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. It's not going to be. Anyway, so what happens is the child heard the teachings of the sage in the womb, and the child started becoming liberated within the womb. And this child was called...
So in other words, the mother was hearing from the sage.
The mother was hearing from the sage, and the child started to develop saintly qualities within the womb.
Okay.
And this child was born, the son of Hiranyakashipu, and, you know, the proud father thinking, oh, my son, this is great. I've got a nice, great demon son. And, you know, families like Mara's family, Henry's family, they send them to private school. Go to school, be good, you know, and come back on the holidays. And so, sure enough, Prahlad. Now, the problem with Prahlad is he was going to this atheistic school, but he's a great soul. He's a liberated soul. And so when instead of just like playing kickball and cricket like all the other children would play. I'm just joking. They didn't play cricket. That was British. But instead of playing all these sports, he was just like, let's come together and meditate. Let's come together and have a little sacred circle. Let's come together and have kirtan.
Yeah.
Right? And so all the other kids, whenever there's like a dynamic kid, all the other kids follow. And Prahlad was so dynamic that everybody just wanted to be like him. So, okay, stop playing. Let's just sit and do whatever Prahlad says. And Prahlad's telling these stories of Lord Vishnu, and no one's understanding. The teachers aren't understanding what's going on. And sure enough, Prahlad goes home on Christmas break and goes home to see his father. No one got that joke. Okay. He goes home on Christmas break, and he brings him home, and the king sees the son and says, oh, my son, I'm so happy to see you. Tell me what you learned in school today. Do you remember what he told him?
Yeah, the first thing he said was that, like, materialistic people, they just get caught up, too caught up in the home and the family, and they think that this is all mine, and they just get attached and they go down into the ditch.
Yeah. And to the degree, Father, that you have all this opulence, this is making your ditch even deeper, because you think all this stuff is yours. You want to be happy? You want to get rid of anxiety? You got to understand, when you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. That was yesterday's theme. Right? Right? You ain't got nothing. But once you start thinking all this stuff is yours, that's when problem comes. This is my house. This is my place. This is my car. These are my kids. This is my family. This is my bank balance. This is my 401k. Get ready for anxiety, people. None of it's yours. All of it's on loan to you. And it could be taken away, boom, in the snap of a finger. So, Father, you think your endeavor is going to actually make you happier with all this opulence? Actually, you are setting yourself up for tragedy.
He says, actually, you become embarrassed by anxiety because of all this, and you fall into a dark well where there's no water, but only suffering. Better that you go out to the forest and take shelter of Lord Vishnu.
We were telling this story to one of our students. I think it was Lindsay Scott. She's an other now, but she was a Texas Zoomer. You know what a Texas Zoomer is?
Well, Texas Zoomer is impressive
because Zoomer is these people who are listening from other time zones, but they're waking up extra early, like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, just to get on Zoom.
Yeah,
I call them Texas Zoomers. So she's a Texas Zoomer. She was telling, I think she handles money for accounts. And she said some people have so much money in their account, yet they're in even more anxiety. You think if they have no money, they'd be in anxiety. But this woman had millions in her account, and she had even more anxiety, always in fear, like she was going to lose that money. Stock market, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. We are in training to understand that we own nothing in this world, and therefore we can become peaceful. So, I will continue. So the father, who's like, we're sort of smiling at first, looking at the child, thinking
he laughed the first
time. He's going to say, huh?
He laughed the first time. He's like, oh, where did you hear that? That was weird.
Well, his demeanor sort of changed. Really? Who told you these things? Took off his glasses. Who told you these things, Prahlad? Where do you learn this from? Took off his monocle. Who told you these things? What teacher is teaching you these things? He said, this is just something I know. He said, let me talk to the teachers. And he went up to those teachers and he said, hey, what the hell are you teaching my kid? What are you doing? My kid's, it's as if he's been instructed by the enemy. They said, we don't know what's gotten into your child. We swear to God, we don't do anything. We don't need to swear to God. We swear to you. We swear to you, we're not doing nothing. Nothing wrong.
Careful about it.
We've done nothing wrong. We don't know where he gets this stuff from. And he said to the teachers, if this happens again, I'll kill you both.
Oh.
Sure enough, Prahlad goes back to school. And what does he do? Come, children, let us sit and chant. Let us have some Hari Katha. Let's start a little kirtan. Harinam Sankirtan. And, this is, they should be playing in recess, yet Prahlad, with his dynamicism, his attractiveness, is drawing so many people close to him They're all falling in love with him and they want to be like, right? When great souls are acting on such a high level, people want to be like them. That's just what happens when you start getting into bhakti. People want to start being like you because they see this person has transcended something of this world. And so they all started wanting to be like Prahlad, and the teachers are getting nervous. And then Prahlad goes home on Easter break, and he goes home to see his father. And his father said, "Oh, my son, what have you learned in school? Tell me, what are you doing? Sports, fun stuff, IT, engineering, perhaps?" What do you say, Kaustubha?
He said, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smartam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanavedanam.
That's how he said. He said, you really want to be joyful in this world, Father? You have to hear about Lord Vishnu, worship Lord Vishnu, listen about Lord Vishnu. Always remember Lord Vishnu. Serve Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. Offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Worship the deity of Lord Vishnu. And the father is just like, what? He's having a total father. He's like, this is a dad fail right here. Father fail. I've failed my son. He's worshiping the enemy. And
those are the 9 limbs of Bhakti Yoga right there.
Yeah, how you can actually approach God, just starting with Shravanam, starting with just hearing about, right? And he started telling his father, Father, don't you understand you're some king? This king thing was going to last a few moments. And then you could be born as an ant or a dog. You value your body. Don't you understand your body is going to be food for the worms, as Shakespeare called it, right? He just throws in the earth and rots. Father, if you're actually wise doesn't mean collect a bunch of junk that gets put in storage units, eventually sold at tag sales. Anybody have a storage unit out there? I highly recommend, if you have a storage unit, get rid of it all today. None of it's worth anything. I know you think it is. It's not. You've got big VHS, VCRs in there. You'll never watch those videos again. DVDs, throw them in the garbage, all of it. Furniture you'll never use. You're wasting your monthly rent on that storage unit. Life isn't about collecting and protecting. Life is about service to Lord Vishnu, Father. You've missed the mark.
He's just a little boy, too, right?
He's just a little child. Imagine like Tarun just saying that to me. Father, you've missed the mark. And you know what? The father, at that point, that's so furious. He realized there's no going back with this kid.
Yeah.
And what do you do when you have gangrene in the hand?
You amputate it.
You cut off the whole, maybe up to the elbow, because it can contaminate the whole body. You were like gangrene in the hand. He said something like that.
He did mention something about like amputation. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You gotta amputate. He said, for the benefit of our family, you should die. What kind of father would do that? I get pissed off at my kids sometimes, but I don't want to kill them.
Well, Raghunath, you see, like the really an essential because this is what I just spoke about on the Bhakti Center class. But I read this chapter that you're speaking from right now. And really what it's all about. You see, the first time Prahlad said, he came, the first question, what did you learn in school? And he said, you're too attached to material life. You're going down into a dark well. You should go off to the forest, worship Lord Vishnu. And it's like, oh, that was weird. Okay. Kid said something funny. He must have heard that somewhere. And then the teachers were like saying, where did you get this? And what the teacher said was, is it from the enemies? Is it our enemies that told you this stuff? And then Prahlad's just like, whoa. And he says, I've never heard this kind of talk before. I've heard about this. I've heard that there are people that see like others as friends and enemies. And now I'm seeing it play out right in front of me. These people are so bewildered, So Prahlad couldn't see. He sees everyone is the pure energy of God. Everyone, regardless of what they look like or how they're acting, I know underneath it all. So how can I see anyone as an enemy? But Hiranyakashipu was so absorbed in that friend and, allies and enemies, right? Friends and foes.
Sure.
He was so deeply absorbed. He hated Vishnu so much, and anyone that had anything to do with Vishnu, He was just so disturbed. And when his own son started speaking like this, he's like, you've become the enemy. You've got to be eliminated. Right? He was deep in that friend and enemy consciousness.
You know, the internet is a great place to see people's hate that they carry around. You know, you could post something very sort of nice, and someone will just say something very nasty, and it just reveals how much anger and hate they have in their heart and in their mind. So people like Prahlad, like, we're in training to get rid of it. I know I was born hateful, angry, pissed off, envious, greedy.
That's why he started a hardcore band.
Screaming at
Let it
other
all
people how they should change their life, and I'm quite fine. And this is, you know, we get this thing where, you know, you see somebody, you just see somebody, you don't even know the person, like, who the hell does he think he is walking in here, looking, dressed like that, look like that? We don't like the way people look, and we hate them. It's horrible. People carry so much hate in their mind. Or, you know, you were flicking through a People magazine. It's like, Britney Spears. Who is this jerk? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't even know Britney Spears. Come on.
She may be a very nice person.
She can be very, very kind.
Yeah.
Who is this jerk? So anyway, finally, he ordered, kill this child.
Kill him.
And the interesting thing is, he ordered his own son to be killed, and no one could kill him because Lord Vishnu always protected him. They tried so many horrible ways. We're going to spare the details. Horrible ways to kill this little child, and no one could kill him. And it always just sort of failed.
What's the verse, Raghu?
Huh?
What's the verse? That you can't kill him.
Prabhu, I know nothing.
No,
I
you
know
do know
nothing.
this one.
You
But
tell
you can't,
me I know nothing.
if the Lord wants to protect him, you can't kill him.
Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rakike.
There you go.
If Lord Krishna wants you dead, no one can save you. And if Lord Krishna wants to save you, nobody can kill you. Good verse, isn't it? Tattoo, Mara, back of your neck.
Mara Krishna Rake.
Mari Krishna. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're gonna... Mara Krishna. Okay. Oh, Mara. Okay, so here's what we got to do here. So Prahlad, now his father's furious. He's just like ranting at the son, and they're standing on the porch of their big, beautiful castle. The father's walking around with a cane.
This is in the future.
Screaming,
After they tried to kill him
you
all these different ways, it didn't work, right?
He's just frustrated now.
Now
father.
he's frustrated.
He's just,
now
he can't pull it off.
How can you
He's
not?
just yelling at his son. He's like, you believe in this God? Where is your God? I can't see God. Oh, Father, God is everywhere. You can't see God? Hey, Father, you can't even see your own eyelids. Isn't that funny? You can't even see your own eyelids. God is everywhere.
Every time I try to look at it, it gets dark.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right? What makes you see? How can God be everywhere? Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. Good point, right?
Yeah.
He says, well, if there is a God, I can't see him. What makes you think just because you want to see God, God will appear? Why don't you act in such a way that God will appear? Even people of this world, if there's someone very powerful, what to speak of God, if there's someone very important in this world, someone very famous in this world, someone very, majestic, beautiful, whatever, opulent in this world, what makes you think you in your ordinary state of being can say, just appear here right now? They won't come.
But he was Hiranyakashipu. He thought it was a big deal. Right? He thought
it was a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. You want the Lord to appear, act in such a way that the Lord appears. And the Lord can appear. There's so many stories of the Lord actually appearing. Now, in Bhakti, we start to train ourselves to see God in everything. But actually, God can appear to you face to face. So many good stories about that. So finally, Hiranyakashipu started losing it, standing, ranting on the porch of his castle. He said, is God out there? Yes, Father, he is. And God's in your heart. Oh, yes, Father, he's in. How could it be out there and in here? He's God. That's what God does. And then in his fury, he said, he was walking by these pillars, and he took his cane. He said, is God in these pillars? And he smashed his cane against the pillar. Now, you got to understand, Hiranyakashipu was causing all types of hell on earth to all the demigods, to all the citizens, to his own child. He wasn't just doing yoga and coming back and making smoothies. He was a tyrant. People feared him. He was a despot. He was like he made the tyrants of this world look like nothing. All the demigods feared him.
I'll read you a verse, Raghu. This verse comes in the 8th chapter of the 7th canto. It said that Hiranyakashipu had been exactly like a fever of meningitis in the head of the three worlds.
A fever of meningitis in the head of three worlds. Can you imagine what meningitis feels like? Because I don't even know what it is.
Meningitis is an infection.
I gotta feel it's not ticklish.
It's an infection in like the kind of like the layer just outside the brain.
Yeah.
So when you get meningitis, it can be like extremely painful headaches and blindness, delusion, madness. It's just like terrible. Fevers, super high fevers. So he was like that for the whole universe.
The whole universe.
Just causing pain and suffering. Yeah.
Just like we hear about some tyrants in this world or bombing or war-torn worlds and war-torn countries. Imagine being in that country where there's refugees and there's criminals, everyone's getting murdered, people are running for their lives. There's no peace in your mind. This is what the entire universe was like. So finally, Lord Nrsingadev, yada yada hidharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, when there's a rise in adharma and a decline in dharma, that's when Lord Krishna manifests. And he manifested in this very ferocious form that when he hit that column, out of the column burst Narahari, Lord Nrsingadev, half man, half lion, and he picked up that demon yogi and put him on his lap. And he dug his nails into the guts of Hiranyakashipu. Famous pictures you can Google up. And not only did he appear to kill that demon, but he also appeared to grant the benediction of Lord Brahma, his great devotee. And Lord Brahma gave that benediction.
He wasn't going to break that, right? He
didn't want to break that vow. He wanted to honor that vow.
Exactly.
Right? And what was that vow? That he wasn't going to be killed in the land.
Land is down.
The land or the sky. The land or the sky, right? And he wasn't. He was killed on the lap. So that benediction did come true of Brahma. He wasn't killed inside or outside.
He thought he had all the bases covered, right?
Right.
Hiranyakashipu. But
the materialist thinks, well, I've got this security in place and this security in place. And if those fall through, I've got this security in place. And if the government finds out about that security, I've stored some on this island where it's a tax exemption island. No one knows about that secret account. I've got it all in place. Yeah. You don't have it in place. Okay. You don't have it in place.
All right. So the first one was it wasn't in the air or on the land.
Not on the air and on the land, on the lap. It wasn't inside or outside, right?
Yeah.
It was on the porch.
Yeah, kind of inside and outside. Neither
he should have said, I don't want to be killed inside or outside or on any particular porch.
Or any lap.
Didn't say that, right? Yeah. He didn't want to be killed in day or night. He was killed at dusk.
Twilight, huh?
He wasn't killed by any weapons. He was killed by the nails of Lord Nrsinga.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Narasingha, man, lion. Like we say, Narayanam Namaskritam. Narayan is like man.
Supermost human being.
Supermost, yeah. Okay. He was not killed by a man or a lion. He was killed by a man lion.
He wasn't killed. But yeah, the other's benediction was neither by man nor beast.
Yeah, he was killed by a man beast.
Killed by a man beast.
He was both. And he was not
neither.
killed.
You could say neither, right?
Or neither.
Yeah.
I'm missing one here.
Land?
Inside, outside, up or down. Land or beast.
Weapon?
Any weapon.
I think you got him.
I think
Day or night? I thought it was...
Day or night, twilight.
Day or night, yeah. Not living nor dead.
He was the undead? No, that wasn't one of them.
I'm reading the message board and it's wrong. So anyway, and he fulfilled all those, and therefore, and he was very furious afterwards. You know that, right, Lord Nishri? Because he was so angry. And
Yeah.
this is when the Lord gets angry. That's the mother bearness of the Lord when the devotee gets offended. That's why we don't want to. That's why it's the greatest offense in bhakti that we don't want to offend the great devotees, because the devotees don't take offense, right? The devotees take no offense. A matter of fact, Prahlad, when it was offered a benediction, he said, "Oh yeah, I'll take a benediction. I pray for my father. Pray to liberate my father." The father, the one that's trying to kill you. You're praying for him. Pray for anything else. You're a little boy. Pray for ice cream. You're a little boy. Pray to go to Disney World. You're a little boy. Pray for all the kids. No. Pray for the father. Why the father? The father was just trying to kill you a moment ago. Don't you remember that? Are you have amnesia? What's going on? Pray for my father. And that is the way a sadhu thinks, a transcendentalist thinks. Even the very people that are absorbed in cruel life, we don't hate them, we don't shame them, we don't cancel them, we pray for them. And we wish them
Don't
well.
shame. Say that again. We don't shame
I
them.
don't know. It just came out. God spoke.
We don't cancel
through me.
them.
I can't
What was
remember
it?
what I said.
Hate
We don't
them?
shame them. We don't hate them. We don't cancel them. I can't remember. It was good, though.
I'm sorry. I interrupted it. We pray
You
for them.
interrupted the flow of nectar.
You said we don't shame them. We don't hate them. We don't cancel them. We pray for them. That's what you said.
We pray for them. We pray for them.
That's
And
a
that's
takeaway.
exactly what he did for Hiranyakashipu. And Lord Nishringa said, your father? You want me to save your father? I'm going to save your next 21 generations of forefathers.
Both directions, right?
Both directions. Going past and going future. Whoosh.
Beautiful.
There's some beautiful stuff in the Bhagavatam here. This is the 7th canto. If you want to dig this
It's
stuff
9
up.
chapters of the 7th canto.
What's that?
It's 9 chapters.
9 chapters?
It's not the 9th chapter. It's 9 chapters full of
9
description.
chapters.
Yeah. You want to hear? I did a little research, Raghunath.
Of course you did. You're the researcher.
I did a little research, and
I'm the
found,
embellisher. You're the researcher.
So I found that in those 9 chapters, there's 468 verses. And of those 468 verses, only 14 of them are spoken by Lord Nrsingadev himself.
How do you figure that out?
I counted them. And so it's mostly about Prahlad, right? It's really a story about the devotee. It's really a story about Prahlad. And how can we become more like Prahlad if we want to please Nrsingadev? Because you kind of started to say, but there's part of the story is once he killed Hiranyakashipu, it's like there's blood everywhere, and it's just a gory scene.
It's a gory scene.
And then he goes and he sits down on Hiranyakashipu's throne. And all the devas come because they've been waiting a long time for this meningitis to be removed from the universe, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like the overthrowing of a tyrant.
yeah. They've been praying for this and waiting for this, hoping for this, desperate for this moment when this horrible tyrant who's been just screwing up the whole universe, they'll be rid of him. And they're all coming forward to offer prayers, but the Lord is still so ferocious. It's like it's terrifying to approach him, right? And then they send little Prahlad forward, right? Because it's like even not even the devas, even Lakshmi Devi, they're all like, this is too much. We've never seen him like this. And so they say, Prahlad, you're the one that he's come here to protect. You're the one that he loves so much. You go ahead. You go forward, right? And then Prahlad offers prayer. So you get so much teachings from Prahlad, so much wisdom. But Lord Nrsingadev, he says very little. But you want to hear one nice verse that he says to Prahlad?
Please.
And this is so appropriate for all Wisdom of the Sages listeners. Because the whole point is, if we want to become like Prahlad, have that mentality that's free from friends and enemies, right? We got to get there. And so this is what he says. He says, it does not matter that you are in the material world. Like, we might have excuses. Well, I'm in the material world, and there's all kind of terrible people here, and there's all kind of terrible situations. How can I become like that? He says, it does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always continuously hear the instructions and messages given by me, and always be absorbed in thought of me. For I am the super soul existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up fruitive activities and worship me. Right? Like, hear Bhagavatam daily. Hear these instructions. Absorb your mind in it. And through that, we won't see for them, we'll see the soul and the super soul within the body of every living being.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And of course, back to the beginning, this Hiranyakashipu, if you're just seeing the story, here's this evil yogi, here's a saintly boy, but even that evil yogi who you want to hate, who you love to hate, he's got a backstory. He was in Vaikuntha. He was cursed. And he was cursed to be liberated. He's a devotee
underneath it all, right?
He's a devotee underneath it all, and he has to take birth again. Matter of fact, that's where we go next in the Bhagavatam. Ravana takes birth, and Ravana is same type of thing. Ravana takes birth, and he gets killed by Lord Ram. And then he gets that soul gets born again as Shishupal in Krishna Leela. So everybody's got a backstory, and sometimes we're just burning through karma, and there is a benevolent force behind everything that's happening to us, and that's where the bhaktas we're firmly fixed that there's a benevolent force with whatever is happening, and it's purging us of our material desires if we see it as that. Otherwise, we got to go back and learn lessons again. Thanks for everybody joining us on this very, very auspicious day.
How about takeaways?
Mara, give us a takeaway. What's the tattoo I can get from this show today?
Not all yogis are good.
Yeah, that's going right on my forearm. Not all yogis are good.
Everyone has a backstory.
Everybody's got a backstory.
Yeah.
Yep. Hurt people hurt people.
Good one.
Hurt people. We're going to keep rehashing that one. It's good.
Yeah. Nothing is yours. It's all on loan.
It's all on loan. That's a classic.
This one's a little long.
Earth is a ghetto.
Yeah, go ahead.
Earth is a ghetto.
Earth is a ghetto. Yep.
Don't shame.
There's a benevolent
don't hate.
force.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
That's
What's
a good
that one
one.
again?
Don't shame, don't hate, don't cancel. Pray for them.
Okay.
Boom.
Yeah.
There's a benevolent
Booyah.
force in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom doesn't mean collecting lots of stuff in your storage. What is it called?
Storage unit. Get rid of your storage unit.
Get rid of your storage unit.
Lots of good info.
The internet
here
is a
today.
great place to see hate.
Yeah, that's a tattoo I'm getting. Thanks, everybody. It's an auspicious way. It's an auspicious way to start the day today. And I'm excited to be here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Take my kids to see all the great monuments of Lord Vishnu. Thanks, everybody who joined us here. Thanks to all the others out there who listen. We don't know you're out there, but
Potomac Temple? You going to the Potomac Temple?
Yeah, that's so many good pastimes at the Potomac Temple.
I know. I feel
Right?
like a major separation. I'm not there with you.